In today's lecture, we are moving on to this much topics: moments and its applications, moment of a force, geometrical representation of moment of a force, Varignon's theorem. It is a theorem related to the moments and its applications. The corollaries of Varignon's theorem. There are some notes or statements which have to be in mind while using the theorem, and the position of resultant force. So these are the things which we are going to discuss today. So first we will move on to the moment of a force. Force, you all know. What is a force? You know. Okay. It is an agent which causes emotion, tends to cause emotion, which retards emotion, which tends to retard emotion. So all these things a force can do. Now we will see what is moment of a force. You may have studied this, but still we will have an explanation of that. Moment of a force is the turning effect produced by a force on the body on which it acts. Okay, a force which can cause a turning effect. Okay, it is actually the effect. A turning effect caused by that force is known as moment. Okay, and it is represented. It is geometry. It can be geometrically explained by the equation m is equal to p into L, where p is the force which is applied, and L is the perpendicular distance of the point about which the moment is required and the line of action of the force. So P is the force and L is the perpendicular distance from the point about which the moment is acted. Okay, and the line of action of the force. I'll show you a figure and I'll explain that. So this is the geometrical representation of a moment. Here in this figure there is a triangle. There is a triangle AOB. Okay, O is one of the vertex of the triangle, and P is a force which is acting along AB. Okay, along the line AB, a force known as P is acting. And in this case, we want to find the moment about O. Okay, about the point O, if we want to find the moment, then first thing we have to do is we have to draw a perpendicular to the force. A perpendicular line which meets the force we have to draw. Okay, this red line shows the perpendicular line which meets the force P, and the point is denoted by C. Now the moment of this force, so this force may cause some turning effect in this triangle. Okay, it may either move clockwise or in anti-clockwise direction due to this force P. Okay, so that is the assumption while using moments. It can either move rightwise or clockwise or anti-clockwise direction. Okay, now if you are taking the moments in this case, the moment will be equal to the force P into the distance OC. That is the thing. Okay, P into L. Here L is OC because it is the perpendicular distance from the point about which the moment has to be taken to the line of action of force. So this is the line of action of force. This is the point about which we are taking the moments. Okay, so this is about the geometrical representation of moment. Now, in your plus 2 classes and all, you may have studied that the base of the triangle into the perpendicular distance from the vertex will be equal to twice the area of the triangle ABO. So this is one of the theorems which we have studied during our plus 2 classes. Okay, so this theorem is applicable here also. So when we are taking moments, M is equal to P into OC. P is the force which is equal to AB. So we can write it as AB into OC. Okay, so AB into OC, base of the triangle into perpendicular distance to the vertex, will be equal to twice the area of the triangle ABO. 2 into area of ABO. So we can say that moment of a force about any point is equal to twice the area of the triangle whose base is the line to some scale representing the force and whose vertex is the point about which the moment is taken. So if it is satisfying two conditions, one is the base has the force. Okay, the force is represented on the base of the triangle and moment is taken at the vertex of the triangle. Then in that kind of a triangle, the moment of the force will be equal to twice the area of the triangle. So this is a theorem which is linked to the basic mathematical theorems which you have studied in plus 2 classes. So this is about the geometrical representation of a moment. Now the units of a moment. So from the equation you have seen that moment is equal to force into a distance, a perpendicular distance. So what is the unit of a force? the unit of force is Newton. Okay, so we can say that when two quantities are multiplied, divided, or summed or subtracted, the unit of that particular quantity will depend upon the quantities which are used for that particular mathematical operation. For example, moment is equal to force into distance. That means the unit of moment will depend on the unit of force and the unit of distance. Okay. So force, the unit is Newton, and distance, the unit is meter, millimeter, or whatever it is. So we can say that the unit of moment is equal to Newton meter, briefly written as Nm, or kilonewton meter, or Newton millimeter, etc. So we can represent the unit of moment like this. Now there are two types of moments. Okay, moments can be either clockwise or anti-clockwise. Okay, here in this case, if you are seeing, there are three forces. One force is like this, one force is like this, and one force is like this. So we can say that more forces given at this end. That means there may be a turning effect to the right side, turning effect in this direction. Okay, so we can say that this type of moment is known as clockwise moment. Okay, because this moment moves the body in the direction of the needles of a clock. So as same as the direction of the needles of a clock. So we can say that it is a clockwise moment. In this case, it is a clockwise moment. Now in this case, we can see that two forces are acting in the left side, no, not left, right side for you. Okay, so what will happen? This body will move in this direction, that is just opposite to the movement of the needles of a clock. So we can say that this is known as anti-clockwise moment. Okay, movement of the body is in opposite direction to the movement of a needles of a clock. Then it is known as anti-clockwise moment. So generally, the clockwise moment is taken as positive. The moment in the clockwise direction is taken as positive, and the moment in the anti-clockwise direction is taken as negative. So this statement you can use while doing it problems. Okay. So this is about the types of moments. Now there is a theorem related to this moments. It is known as Varignone's theorem. Even though you haven't studied the statement of the theorem, you have already done problems in this subject. Okay, Varignone's theorem states that if a number of coplanar forces are acting simultaneously on a particle, the algebraic sum of the moments of all the forces about any point is equal to the moment of the resultant forces about the same point. So this is a theorem. This is a very simple theorem. Your last problem regarding the method of resolution was about this. Okay. If there are many forces acting on a particular coplanar plane simultaneously, then if you are taking the moment of the resultant, then that will be equal to the sum of the moments of all the forces. So regarding this, you have done a problem. So this is a theorem known as Varignone's theorem. Okay, the statement you have to study. And we will do more problems regarding this. Now there are two corollaries for this Varignone's theorem. Okay, two statements or two notes to be noted for this Varignone's theorem. So you have to see that moment is equal to resultant force into x, or sigma moments. The sum of all the moments of all the forces will be equal to moment of the resultant. That is a resultant into the distance to the resultant. Okay, that is the moment of the resultant. This is the theorem actually. The corollary number 1 says that if a system of coplanar forces have a single force as their resultant, then the algebraic sum of the moments of the forces about any point on the line of action of the resultant will be equal to 0. So this is corollary number 1. Okay. So the Varignone's theorem's statement was sigma m is equal to r into x. That is, the sum of moments of all the forces will be equal to the moment of the resultant. That is, resultant into perpendicular distance to the resultant. Okay, this was the theorem. Statement number 1 says that if the moment is taken, moment of the force about any point on the line of action of the resultant, that is, if the moment is taken at any point in the line of action of the resultant, then the sigma m will be equal to 0. Okay, if we are taking moment along the line of action of the resultant, we don't know where the resultant actually acts. Okay, if we are taking the moment at the line of action of the resultant, then what will happen? Then x will be 0. So sigma m will be equal to 0. So this is statement number 1. Okay, we will have some explanation of this while doing problems. So that will make you have a better understanding of this. Statement number 2 says that if the forces are in equilibrium, if the coplanar forces are in equilibrium, equilibrium means there is no resultant. Okay, all the input will be equal to output. Okay, all the forces will be what is that? The effect of all the forces will be neglected. That means resultant will be equal to 0. In that case also sigma m will be equal to 0. That is the statement number 2. So sigma m is equal to actually r into x. In the statement number 2, you can say that resultant is equal to 0. R is equal to 0. So sigma m is equal to again 0. So in a short, we can say that Varignon's theorem is equal to sigma m is equal to Rx. That is Varignon's theorem. But in statement number 1, it is said that x is equal to 0. Then sigma m is equal to 0. Statement number 2 says that R is equal to 0. That means again sigma m is equal to 0. Okay. Now we will move on to the applications of this moment. First application is finding the position of the resultant force itself. So that application you have already seen in one of the problems. To find the position of a resultant, you have to do this Varignon's theorem. Okay, what is that? You have to equate the moment of the resultant force with the algebraic sum of the moments of all the other forces. So by this method you can find the position of the resultant force. At which point the resultant force is acting, you can find. That is the first application. The second application is levers. Levers you may have studied in physics in your plus 2 classes. So this will be an assignment for you. You have to write about levers. What are levers? What are the different types of levers? There are simple levers, compound levers, etc. So what are the different kinds of levers and all, you have to write it as an assignment. I'll give you the topic and date of submission later. So these are the two applications of moments. And with this, we can close this lecture. Thank you.